Hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the time zone you are joining us from. Welcome to this exciting session where ServiceNow and OTORIO are coming together to help you manage and secure your industrial environment assets within your industrial environments, including IT, OT, and IoT assets. Let me begin with my introduction here. My name is Swapna Komineni. I have been in manufacturing domain for over 20 years. Most of my journey was with manufacturing Oracle company where I was developing ERP applications. And 2 years back, I joined ServiceNow and I've been working as senior manager, part of outbound product management within ServiceNow. I'm responsible for building strategy and roadmap for the operational technology products within ServiceNow. And I work closely with customers, partners, and strategic accounts. Over to you, Shannon, for your introduction, please.
Thank you very much, Swapna. So yes, I'm Shannon Friedman. I'm a sales engineer here at OTORIO, so I am here to field technical questions, guide you through the sales process, and make sure to keep the salespeople honest. My background is all OT, so originally I'm from Germany. I studied electrical engineering with a focus on industrial automation there. I worked as a field service engineer. I worked in system integration for CNC machines and have slowly found my way into sales engineering and into industrial cybersecurity or cybersecurity for OT and IoT. So here we are. Thank you very much. So today we will be focusing on how ServiceNow and OTORIO manage assets together, how we then go ahead and secure those assets, and we'll finally shine a light on a case study to see how everything really plays out in the real world here.
Okay, with that agenda in place, let's kickstart. Let me first talk to you about ServiceNow as a company. As you might be aware of ServiceNow, we are an enterprise workflows company. We deployed all over the world, major Fortune 500 companies. Well, likely your organization might already be using ServiceNow today. It's very much known as a company that helps you manage IT assets, information technology assets. But we are also into general administration, HR, finance, customer workflows, field services, you name it, we have those generic capabilities. But last over the 4 years, we have been investing in managing your operational technology environment, and we support industries like manufacturing, critical infrastructure, energy and oil and gas, any industry basically using operational technology assets, right? And we have been building strategic partnerships with OEM vendors like Siemens, Bosch, and also Microsoft, have been continuously doing some community participation to evangelize these products, just to make sure that we have the intent of continuing the investment in these products in the space of industrial environment. We will be coming up with some new set of products with our new acquisitions, the recent acquisitions that that happened from companies EY and For Industry here. Yeah, that's all about ServiceNow, and let's go ahead and look at OTORIO. Over to you, Shannon.
Thank you very much. So yes, here at OTORIO, we're all about OT and IoT cybersecurity. We're really trying to bring you operational resiliency, all driven by data. So in a nutshell, we do have global presence. So we're all over the globe. We have professionals in Israel, Europe, the US, and Canada. We have a whole row of Fortune 500 companies, all in the manufacturing, transportation, and energy sector, big automotive customers, for example. And essentially, our mission is to empower your security and make sure that your operational teams are up to speed when it comes to building out a resilient strategy for your cyber operations. So yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me set the context here by talking about some of the challenges faced by customers within these industrial environments. If you look at some of the example assets that we have put in here, PLCs, HMIs, or SCADA systems within your industrial environment are nothing but heart or mind behind the critical production processes. If any of these assets fails, your entire production process can come to a halt, causing you unplanned downtimes, which in turn lead you to financial losses. And with the complex environment in the times of expanding digital landscape of OT systems, there are so much of diverse vendors, diverse protocols of these assets, that there's a limited expertise around managing these assets, that if an asset fails, how quickly you can bring them up and back, turn back your production processes in time without incurring a lot of costs. So it is very critical to ensure that there's a minimum human intervention, or minimizing the human errors and reducing cost. On the other hand, these assets are also getting connected to the internet, IT assets, which is kind of exposing them to different cyber attacks. So it is very critical to ensure that these assets are protected against cyber attacks. And in that process, a lot of governments are mandating regulatory compliance requirements, where customers are struggling to navigate within those requirements. So these are like two kinds of challenges that we are seeing. And if these challenges left unaddressed, they can lead to catastrophic financial burden. Just to highlight one example here from ITC report, that one single hour of downtime can anywhere cost over $4 million per hour. That's the kind of financial burden that you don't want to go through. So what's the answer? So ServiceNow and OTORIO are coming together to give you the solutions to get rid of those financial burdens or not end up having any of those challenges. So let's begin with how OTORIO's Titan work. Over to you, Shannon.
Thank you very much. So looking at how Titan works, or OTORIO's Titan works rather, it's all about scalable OT risk management. So what does this actually mean? At first, it's about collecting data. So understanding what is your landscape actually like? What type of devices do you have? What type of systems could we possibly leverage for information? So if we look on the far left side here, we see firewalls, industrial IoT, network monitoring, industrial project files, asset visibility, industrial control systems. So all those different data sources that can be leveraged, because oftentimes you have a lot of information in overlaying systems and management systems or project files. If you have a backup system, that is valuable data on your assets. So what OTORIO does, it uses many different sources, including our own little adapters or plugins to pull that data. So OTORIO Titan is going to be very powerful in getting that information on all your assets to build up visibility. And all that data then flows into the central manager. So the central piece to OTORIO Titan right here, where the data is enriched and analyzed. So basically it's all orchestrated. All those different sources we see on the left are being brought together, and it's all being compiled into one large database. I guess you could almost call it data completeness. So we're getting all that visibility, all that data from all those different sources, and we're putting it in one place. You no longer have to go out and look at all those different project files, don't have to look at different management systems. It's all there. And from that, we then build out deliverables. So if we look to the far right, there's going to be dashboards, reports. So first and foremost, of course, full asset inventory. There's going to be vulnerability management, very clear mitigation steps. So we actually do have customers that use technicians from their maintenance shops to mitigate some of the issues we find. Security insights, policy and compliance is part of our product here, and of course, exposure management. So really, all in all, it's about collecting data, shining a light on your inventory, and then letting you know where you can make things better, or just have you have that full picture of your asset inventory.
Thank you, Shannon. So within ServiceNow, to address these challenges, we have come up with a dedicated OTM portfolio with dedicated OT workspaces within ServiceNow. Fundamentally, there are three pillar products we have provided, starting with the foundational product, which is OTCMDB. Basically, we enhance the existing IT classes and cater to different OT classes that you need to have within your industrial environments to support different types of assets, and also included some of the critical elements like Purdue level, criticality, or site location kind of attributes. So that's where we have come up with the OTCMDB, or the foundational product. And the second and third pillars are more around leveraging the data model and enabling you to utilize different digital workflows within ServiceNow. The second use case is mainly how you will be able to secure your assets by following the design practices around security from beginning. And then third pillar is around how you can leverage service management workflows to manage issues around these assets and how you can streamline and resolve the issues related to OT assets. So within ServiceNow, having this one data model, one architecture, you will be able to integrate with multiple systems to bring in the information around these assets and manage them within the ServiceNow platform as a system of record and use the data as a system of action to leverage different workflows. And in this context, we integrated with OTORIO in the context of bringing in the OT asset information and build the OT CMDB and also bring in the incident information to leverage the service management piece. So now let's talk about the integration related details here. Over to you, Shannon.
Awesome. So how OTORIO integrates with ServiceNow, first and foremost, continuous asset management. So like I said, we're using all those different data sources to get full visibility into your OT ecosystem, getting full asset discovery, really understanding what do you have on your shop floor? What is out there? No longer relying on manual Excel sheets, for example. And that all is being pushed into ServiceNow's CMDB. So we can use OTORIO's Titan to really classify OT assets, make sure that you know what it is, where it is, and all the metadata that surrounds it. So what's its IP address, what's its MAC address, what's its firmware version, serial numbers, all that nice stuff. And then, of course, going forward here, seamless ticketing and incident resolution. So identifying security alerts, escalating them, streamlining OT incident resolution to ServiceNow. So essentially, whenever we find something that could be worked out, something that has to be worked on the OT side, we can push it out into your existing workflows through ServiceNow. It's going to be part of your standard incident resolution just on the OT side. So OTORIO's Titan can create incident tickets right there, so you can be proactive about OT security and make sure that you're ahead of the game. And I'll let you speak to the last point here, Swapna.
Yeah, now then using ServiceNow's capabilities like ServiceNow's analytics and machine learning capabilities, how easily you can arrive at decisions by being able to leverage the knowledge articles to streamline incident resolution, to leverage some of the AI capabilities to make sure that you will be able to have the summarized incident information or the aided resolution for those automatically generated, right? That would all enable you to make your decisions efficient. Yeah. With that, let's look into managing assets part. Yeah, over to you, Shannon, to talk about the different architecture here.
Awesome. So working our way from the bottom to the top here, how we can really manage assets. Of course, it starts with importing connected systems, so be it OT, IT, or IoT devices. How do we get them into the OTORIO Titan Central Manager? So that's step one, getting all that information. For that, we have what we call edges. Those are essentially our foot workers. They run different integrations. They can talk to DCS systems. They can actively query your networks. They can listen in on the network traffic. They can digest project files. So those are the foot workers that do all the data collection for us. And they analyze that data and send it up to the OTORIO Titan Central Manager. So that is where you're going to have the centralized asset visibility. That's where all the data comes together, where everything is orchestrated, where we have that full asset inventory, and from where we build out security alerts, for example. And then we push all that up into ServiceNow.
Then within ServiceNow, you will be able to manage your whole asset information based on the critical attributes like site, Purdue level, and location. More importantly, in the context of your production processes. That's where ServiceNow plays a role in overlaying the whole asset information in terms of your critical production processes here. With that, let's jump into the solutions that we built. The first solution here is the Service Graph Connector for OTORIO, which is available on the store. That's the screen here. This Service Graph Connector helps you in ingesting all the assets that are discovered from Titan and bring it into ServiceNow CMDB. And you can schedule your imports to bring in the asset information into CMDB. First time you will import all the assets and then schedule them on a regular frequency to be able to incrementally refresh any changes that are happening on Titan to make sure that they are propagating into ServiceNow CMDB. We also have a differentiating importing of equipment model hierarchy from OTORIO's Titan platform to ServiceNow so that your whole representation of your site location hierarchy can be brought into ServiceNow CMDB as well with this connector. Then we have the ServiceNow's OT visibility solution, which helps you in giving you the centralized visibility around the OT assets, OT, IT, IoT assets within your OT environments are all pulled into one single workspace, industrial workspace here, by giving you access to lots of information related to assets, 360-degree view of information related to all the attributes and any incidents, vulnerabilities, any compliance data, all of the 360-degree data of the assets are covered. And as I mentioned earlier, this information is overlaid in terms of the critical production context that is available where these assets are automating the processes. And you would also be able to gain insight into what are the communications happening between these assets and how these assets are automating different production processes. This dependency view map can make sure that you will be able to analyze any business impact if any system, like if any OT asset like PLC fails, that you can quickly drive into insights around what is the business impact by going through the different dependencies in this diagram. With that, let's go ahead and jump into the demo part here, managing assets. First, let's look at how OTORIO RAM Square has the centralized asset visibility, and then we will get into ServiceNow piece. Shannon, you can go ahead and share your screen.
All right, so let me go ahead and pull that up. All right, so right here I have our Titan OTORIO dashboard. So I just logged into our solution, assuming that you all are able to see my screen. Now, where we want to go is over into our asset management. So right here, I already prepared something. I pulled out the asset that is of relevance here. So in our asset management, I filtered out a individual Rockwell controller, and we can see a whole bunch of meta information around this device. So we can see it is a ControlLogix device. We can see its MAC address right here, its IP address, the vendor. We can see some security insights here already. We can also configure an impact level. So how important is this device to your operational context? Example here is if you have a coffee machine that for whatever reason is being controlled by a PLC, it's likely not that important to your operations, but maybe it has some high level alerts, and we wouldn't want to bubble that up to the top of your list because of course a PLC that's running actual production is going to be a lot more important to you than whatever is driving the coffee machine. Now, coffee is important, but still. And then, of course, we have some additional information here. So we can see process locations. We can see the current state. We can see when this asset was detected. We see the family right here. So it is a ControlLogix. We see the model number, catalog number, serial numbers, firmware version right here. And we can also dig a lot deeper. So we can see slot and rack information. So what modules are actually running inside of this PLC. So a good overview here, good data that we're collecting. And again, we're pushing all this over to ServiceNow. So I'll hand this back over to Swapna so we can take a look at what it looks like over there.
Yeah. Back to ServiceNow, where we have run all imports required to bring in assets information here. You can see that set scheduled jobs have been run already. And let's go ahead and look into how OT asset information looks like. So here is the report of assets overview, which is like assets coming across different sites that you have, how many number of assets overall, and actionable assets, like if there are any assets that are still not classified correctly, are not assigned to the right required persona. And you can drill down into this information and dissect this information by different dimensions, like by asset classes, asset types, asset criticality, as asset vendors, etc. Some of this information would be very useful at your fingertips when some use cases, like when a particular vendor, Rockwell, is publishing their latest firmware upgrades, and as a OT manager, you would want to understand where all my Rockwell assets are located across different locations. You can quickly drill into those type of assets spread across different sites and locations by just clicking there. So that's the overall entire OT asset estate. We also have the dedicated industrial workspace where we give the information around each of the assets, each of the sites specifically, because we understand that most of the OT environments are very locally operated, where users are given usually access to a particular site, one or more sites that they are responsible for. So site level accesses can be granted to users. In this case, this is an admin that I'm using, so you can see all of the assets here, but this page will let you drill into the asset information for a particular site. In this case, from OTORIO, we have seen that already the asset is picked from this particular site. You can see all of the information for this site, right? Let's get into the list of assets, where you can see the site information, device criticality, and the discovery source here. Let's filter with OTORIO as the discovery source here. You can see that there are different assets. Let's go ahead and group by class. You can see that there are different classes that these assets from OTORIO's Titan platform came into CMDB and got classified under these different classes. You can also look at different classes by list views available here as supervisory, control systems, field devices, etc. Now, more than the list of OT assets, we also have the critical production process context that we have been talking through. The similar information that you saw in OTORIO, where the locations of these assets within the process area of blending, distilling within the site Mexico here. So you can see that the assets are already mapped to these areas automatically. Within a blending area, you can see what are all the assets that are controlling overall in this area. Also, you can go to a granular level of a specific area like blending one to see what is the asset mapped. And in this case, we have mapped the particular PLC which Shannon just showed. So let's double click into this asset to look at the details. You can start to see that the 360-degree view of asset information coming here. The timeline here also is useful when you want to explore what happened in the recent periods, that there is a new incident that's logged in the last 1 week here. And you can see that this PLC is having all the different details that Shannon just showed. And more on top of all that information that we pulled in, we also merged the information related to production processes, OT incidents, vulnerabilities, any change requests. And we also showcase some specific information like memory modules, if it is a PLC, if it's a Windows server, a different type of information. The type of information that we show here change based on the type of the class. In this case, sorry, it's not memory module, it's OT control modules, which are specific to a PLC type of assets. Here, this PLC is connected to 5 control modules. And this information can also be explored in terms of different dependencies by getting into view map here. You can look at this in a horizontal way. You can see that the PLC here is connected to 5 control modules. Not only that, it is connected to control modules, it's also communicating to DCS and further up to the other information here. You can also look at the details in the context of this particular PLC asset. what are the incidents logged, if there are any vulnerabilities, so that it can help you identify what are the related services that get impacted if this PLC fails. That's how the business impact can be analyzed when some issue occurs with these OT assets using this dependency view. So it talks about the relations within the different OT assets and also shows you the relationships between the assets and the production processes. So that kind of ends the demo for asset management. Now let's look at the securing assets part. Shannon, can you go over the reference architecture? Is my screen
Yes, your screen is there. I was muted. Apologies. All right. So we have all the information in the OTORIO Titan Central Manager, and from there we can create an OT security incident. So we alert you to vulnerabilities, we create insights, we can let you know if there's certain things that might be exposed on your network, unsecure internet communication, for example, all those cool little things. And what we do is we create an OT security incident, essentially a ticket, and we can push that over into ServiceNow. So what we do attach to those incidents is tailored mitigation steps. So like I was kind of hinting at earlier, we have very clear mitigation steps. So what do you have to do exactly in order to mitigate an exposure, fix an issue? Maybe it's just changing a firewall rule, but maybe it is changing settings directly on a PLC, making sure that certain services are disabled if they're not being used, just to close down and mitigate for a vulnerability. And in that case, of course, it'll be your electricians or technicians or maintenance engineers on the shop floor that have to take care of that. So we have those clear mitigation steps. They're almost a little bit like recipes. You just follow them step by step. You'll be able to fix an issue yourself. So like that, you're actually bringing OT and IT together because your OT engineers are suddenly being part of cybersecurity. They don't even have to know about it, but that's pretty cool.
yeah. With that incident information within ServiceNow, you would be able to track and manage the entire workflow related to resolving these incidents within ServiceNow. So we have come up with, again, the integration as a solution here by building the incident integration, which is available in Store. This basically enables you to automatically generate the issues related to your assets, vulnerabilities related to your assets, and bring them as OT incidents into ServiceNow platform. Then you can leverage the digital workflows and AI-based knowledge articles to go through the incidents and be able to resolve them within the time, so that you can reduce your MTTR for these incidents. What is particularly good about OTORIO's incident integration that just Shannon talked about is that these incidents are enriched with the information related to mitigation guidance, where you will have step-by-step mitigation that is described as part of the incident description. Once the incidents are brought into ServiceNow, you can accelerate the incident resolution using the knowledge articles that are automatically be suggested based on the description of your incidents. And you will be able to use your work notes, which can aid collaboration between different technicians. In fact, the whole workflow is automatically be moving between different technicians as you design. So you can also leverage the change process within ServiceNow. If you need any change for a particular PLC to be having a configuration change or a new part replacement that you need to follow a certain change process within your business, then you can take control of your change using the change management available as part of ServiceNow. So let's look at incident integration demo now. Shannon, over to you first to cover OTORIO's part.
Very good. All right. So I pulled up our cases screen right here. These are basically the incidents. And what we have here is we now have a couple of items here. So if I select one here, for example, unauthorized internet OT connectivity, we can see right here what is happening. We have a ticket or an incident in here. We can see there's 3 related alerts. There's 1 affected assets, and there's 1 user that has been assigned to this. And currently it's taken 4 days and 12 hours to get along with this. And right here, there is a high-level description. So what's going on? An outdated asset is both accessible to the OT and internet networks. The asset may pose a security risk and serve as a potential entry point for attacker to reach the OT network. So right here, this is essentially a unsecured gateway asset. This is things we see on the shop floors all the time. And if we go over here to see the alerts, we can see network exposed by asset, outbound internet connection, end of life. So as we go through here, we can see end of life. This is end of life system. So it is a Windows 7 machine. Obviously, that is no longer up to date since Windows 7 has been end of life a few years ago. And as we look here through outbound internet communication, for example, we can pull up mitigation steps, and we'll have very clear recipe on how to work with this. So we start with identifying. How do you identify an asset? Triage the asset, kind of lock it away, make sure that you've triaged it so you can continue work, and then start investigation. And then towards the end here, we have containment or remediation and post-incident. So basically follow these steps and you'll be in a better spot. So we can take a quick look at the network exposed by asset here as well. So we have detected that this asset exposes the network. Obviously, it's an end-of-life system, and it is connected to OT, so it should not be connected to the internet. So right here, again, we have some nice mitigation steps. What can you do to mitigate the assets without disconnecting or ripping out this asset? With that, I'll pass it on to Swapna.
Thank you, Shannon. So within ServiceNow, I have already opened the incident here. You can see the you can see the list of OT incidents, which I have I have already put a filter around this particular site, Oil and Gas Mexico. So these are the incidents that are coming from OTORIO's Titan platform. You can see these different incidents, which can be automatically be assigned to the right assignment group so that the right set of technicians are notified about these incidents as soon as they are created. In this case, let me first get into one particular incident to talk about how we are bringing in the incident information that just Shannon showed, the number of alerts, the whole entire description coming from OTORIO here. The power of this integration is these different alerts are automatically created as 3 different incident tasks so that different technicians can be assigned to these tasks and they can start having their own workflow mechanism for resolving these tasks. So in this case, there's an end of life problem which needs a different technician, outbound internet communication, the security threat related to that can be assigned to a security analyst. And within each of these tasks, while the persona is working on these individual tasks, you can see that within the context of the particular task description, you can see the relevant knowledge articles. In this case, the whole entire information about the mitigation steps that Shannon just showed us, that is already converted into a knowledge article within ServiceNow. So next time when the similar incident happens, and next time whenever there's an outbound internet communication related issue is coming up, a user can easily open up this knowledge article and go through the whole mitigation steps, and how he would understand how to triage and investigate. Further, whatever steps that he would take to resolve this, they can also be converted into the knowledge article, which can be useful for the next time incident, next time technician when he works on the similar incident. So that's about like taking help of knowledge articles and trying to resolve or accelerate the incident resolution here. The next piece that I want to show here is, in any case, if your incident is requiring any change that you need to do any PLC configuration that this incident resolution warrants, then you can create OT change. And we have provided some basic without approvals, advanced with approvals, out of the box the state model flows, workflows designed for OT environments. But if you have a specific requirement around following certain steps of processes, you can definitely create your own workflow process required within your change processes. And this would enable you to use a playbook kind of experience to go through one after the other and streamline all the activities related to change process that you implement on your side, that you end up documenting your risk, you end up planning your change during the downtime windows, and then you implement and close. In case of approvals, the approval related steps would get added in between. I wanted to show here the scheduling assistant piece where you can start assigning these changes based on the planned downtimes available, which can also be integrated with your maintenance schedules of your plant, particular production lines, etc. And you can bring those downtimes and assign the change. So that with that change process, once the change is closed, your incident can come back and you can come back and resolve your incident and close the incident. So that kind of closed loop the incident resolution process within ServiceNow. Let's get back to the slide again. So now with the completion of asset management and securing your assets, let's now look at an example case study here. Over to you, Shannon.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So right here we have a case study coming from the automotive vertical. So it's located in Germany. It's a major OEM, so 10,000, 100,000 plus employees. They're currently using operational technology management visibility with performance analytics and workflow management and ticketing for IT and OT. And essentially, the idea was to increase OT automation, making sure there's fewer manual processes because we're human after all, error prone and slow. So automating things makes sure that things happen in a timely manner and that they are correct. Proactively reducing risk and providing scalable asset visibility. So essentially, to set the stage here, their business challenge was a lack of visibility into OT assets. So oftentimes on shop floors, it runs down to tribal knowledge of the engineers that are running the machines, that they are the only ones that know what actually all is there. And it does not always trickle up into overlaying systems, just because that is the nature of OT. And based on that, of course, they had an incomplete understanding of vulnerabilities and security risks. So you cannot protect what you don't know or cannot see. If you don't know you have a legacy asset right there, of course, you cannot protect it. You don't know its vulnerabilities. So essentially what this all led to was inefficient and manual incident management processes. So a lot of manual work, manual tracking, and of course that is slow, that does not keep up with today's pace, and it is error prone. So essentially, the business value that ServiceNow and OTORIO provided here was enhanced visibility of all operational assets and processes, and really allowing them to be proactive about vulnerabilities and other cybersecurity incidents. So making sure that they can keep track of possible exposures, attack surfaces, and all the vulnerabilities just based on asset visibility. So utilizing all those different data sources that I was just talking about earlier. And of course, this all unified risk management across the enterprise with appropriate OT context. So what this means is it basically brought all the processes together into one place. They were using existing processes through ServiceNow. They had a one-place approach for their incidents. And this, of course, then also streamlines compliance and regulatory audits because all the data is being tracked in one place. And that's really helpful when it comes to mitigating risk, and especially if you have to stand up to regulatory audits. So, and then of course, operational efficiency, making sure risk is reduced. And by operational efficiency, those are the things such as better uptime or more uptime, more production, higher OEE, better effectiveness on your equipment, and of course, less reduced cost, lower risk. So you are essentially closing down or mitigating exposures, attack surface on the OT side. So you're making sure that you are safe on the operational side. So to tie this all down, why ServiceNow and OTORIO? this was or is a Fortune 500 automotive company. They streamlined their operational technology by integrating both of our platforms and made sure that this all aligns with their digital transformation. So this all goes towards Industry 4.0 and making sure that their operational strategy is enhanced. So in a nutshell, we made sure they know what they have, we made sure they can protect it, and we integrated all of that into their existing workflows to make their life as easy as possible. Anything to add on that, Swapna?
I think it's a wonderful story of that they could leverage both OTORIO and ServiceNow to bring together assets into one single platform and secure them. Yeah. Can you go ahead and summarize our Better Together?
Of course. So what we do, this is just summarizing our entire webinar right here. We discover assets. So we integrate two overlaying systems. We pull in project files. We tie into your DCS systems. We can tie into SCADA systems, whatever you may be using. We have our own plugins. So if you don't have any of those, OTORIO Titan is a standalone solution as well. We're just trying to utilize and leverage as much data as you may already be collecting. And this allows us to really discover your OT assets, building out an inventory. So this is where it all starts. And then, of course, being better together, building out a full comprehensive asset discovery tool, classifying roles within processes. So making sure that OT and IT and of course IoT data sources all the way down to level 0 are being discovered and classified correctly. So you have your inventory, it's being pushed into your CMDB. And of course, all this also leads to us creating a unified source of truth. So you don't have to go into 4 or 5 different solutions and pickpocket or cherry pick information that is relevant to you. It is all in one place. And of course, the deliverable from all that, which kind of falls out automatically, is making data actionable, understanding your asset data, filtering out what doesn't matter, effectively reducing noise. That's what we do, and sorting your data according to the Purdue model. So you have actionable insights. It's all contextualized based on your operationals. It is all prioritized based on your individual criticality.
So that's about gaining the visibility into OTC ecosystems. Now let's look at how OTORIO and ServiceNow coming together to operationalize your security and improve efficiency of your environment. OTORIO and ServiceNow coming together to streamline the OT incident management by automatically generating the tickets related to your asset issues or vulnerabilities, and it provides step-by-step mitigation guidance. And within ServiceNow, you can leverage AI, Gen AI summarizations or knowledge articles to help resolve these incidents faster, which helps increasing your productivity at the end of the day, and basically taking control of change processes and ensuring that your whole environment is secure and if your whole operations are efficient. So that's the entire summary of gaining visibility into your operational environment and securing the environment to maximize efficiency of your operations. So with that, yeah, thank you for joining this webinar. For any questions that you have, you can always reach out to us. There's Swapna from ServiceNow, swapna.komineni@servicenow.com, and Shannon from OTORIO. Shannon, you want to say your email?
Absolutely. So my email is going to be shannon.friedman@otorio.com. So again, if you have any questions, feel free. We're happy to help. We're always available. So yeah, thank you very much for your attention and time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.